Radhesham Bro also says like if we have like so many relationships, but there are very few relationships that are like that will few people whom we will be interacting with on a daily basis. That will be only like two, three people or maximum five people. And if we have mastered those relationships, then our life will be very easy. And so like for Vaishnava, so I'm going to mostly like speak with this topic from like devotional perspective, and we'll see like where it goes. So I'll get started. So firstly, like why I'll start with one story and like demonstrate like why it is important to why it is important the way we deal with Vaishnavas. What is the importance of that? So Kanchipuram is a place in Tamil Nadu. This is one of the Divya Deshams. There's the home for Lord Varadaraj, the self-manifested deity of Lord Varadaraj. So in Kanchipuram, one time there was this devotee known as Kanchipurna. Kanchipurna was such an exalted devotee that the deity used to personally speak to him. And anybody who had questions, who wanted to talk to the Lord, they would say, Kanchipurna, that I have this question. Can you please ask the Lord? And then Kanchipurna would ask, and the Lord would personally speak to him. And his service was he used to fan the Lord, and while fanning the Lord, he would talk to the Lord, and Lord would talk to him. So one day, one devotee came and he told Kanchipurna that, can you please ask Lord Varadaraj that when I will see him again, like when will I return back home, back to the spiritual world? And then Kanchipurna said, yeah, sure, I'll ask this question. So he asked this question to Lord Varadaraj that while fanning, there's such and such devotee. He had some question for you. He wanted to ask, when will he see you again? When will he coming back to spiritual world? And the Lord said that, yeah, this person, he'll come back to me in this very lifetime. At the end of after this lifetime, he will come back to me. And then Kanchipurna was fanning the Lord, and then Lord said like, you, it looks like you want to ask something. Please, like, is there something in your heart that you want to say? And Kanchipurna said, no, no, no. Then Lord said, no, no, ask what's there in your heart. Then Kanchipurna asked that, uh, actually, I also want, like, when will I see you again? When will I come back to the spiritual world? And then the Lord said, uh, for you, it will take some time. Like, there is still some more time left for you in this material. Then, such an exalted devotee, like, he was thinking, like, why? What is the reason? He said, because you are serving me, that is very good, but you have not served my devotees. So there is still some more time for you. And as soon as Kanchipurna heard that, he left that service and he went from there to serve devotees. So where did he go? He went to the house of Mahapurna in disguise. He went there as a cowherd man, like as a uh, like person who tends to the cows. So he changed his dress, and Mahapurna is another exalted devotee. He went to his house, and for few months he was there. He was just serving, just milking the cows. And one day it was raining very heavily, and his so Kanchipurna's all clothes were wet, and so he had nothing but only the robes of sannyasi which he was earlier wearing. So he wore that. And Mahapurna, when he came, he recognized that for so many months I was accepting service from such an exalted person. He told immediately, please go back. And then he comes back to Kanchipuram, and then Lord said, yes, now you will come back to me after this life. So serving devotees is very important, which we can learn from this story. And so it's very important how we interact with devotees, not to offend them and serve them properly. And His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj said this thing, which is like, I think, very important and touched my heart, that in all our interactions, all our dealings, we should have this mood. we should deal with this consciousness that my advancement in spiritual life depends on how I treat this person. Not only like in how we treat devotees, but also how we treat any person we meet. You know that. Um, so yeah, this consciousness is important, and how we deal with different persons, it depends on like the different levels there are at. And so we'll see at like we'll see mostly looking at the three types of devotees which comes in nectar of instruction, so that's coming next. But before we move to that, we'll see like how scriptures are like filled with examples how of how devotees deal with different devotees or different levels of devotees. So this Krishna shows personally when he goes to meet the Pandavas. So when Pandavas are exiled from the kingdom, and Krishna goes to meet them. So this is at the time of when the Akshay Patra pastime happens. So when Krishna goes to meet the Pandavas, so then when he goes, first Yudhishthir and Bhima come to greet him. So when Yudhishthir and Bhima come, so Krishna bows down to them. He pays obeisances to them because they are elder to him. And then when Arjuna comes, he goes and hugs them, hugs Arjuna. And when Nakul and Sahadev come, they pay obeisances to Krishna because Krishna is elder to them. So in this way, how we deal with different devotees, there are many other examples also. So depending on like age, and then depending on how advanced somebody is in spiritual life, we have to interact with them differently. We interact with them differently. So these etiquettes have been shown. I will not go so much in detail over here. Let's directly go to the nectar of instruction, text 5, which which tells us about the different types of devotees and how we should uh, associate with different types of devotees. So we'll read the translation over here for text 5. Anybody wants to volunteer?
Sure, Prabhu. One should mentally, so this is Nectar of Instruction, text 5. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others.
Yeah. So just just give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So here, like from this verse in the purport, Srila Prabhupada tells like there are three types of devotees. So, and those three types of devotees can be categorized like based on increasing level of faith. So the first category of devotee is Kanishta Adhikari. And so Kanishta Adhikari is someone like who is just beginning his spiritual life. So who has started to chant the holy names of Krishna, but he does not have so much firm faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. He can easily, his philosophy is not very strong, and he's just trying, so he can be easily swayed away. So in this Kanishta Adhikari also, like there can be two categories. So somebody who is innocent and trying to chant sincerely, but he does not have inner strength. So to such persons, those who are more elevated than the level of Kanishta Adhikari should go and help them, try to help them to advance in spiritual life. But somebody who is chanting and also engaged in other illicit activities or intoxication, for to such persons we should try to maintain some distance, and from distance we can pray for them. So in this way, this is the Kanishta Adhikari level. But we should not, like, if somebody is at Kanishta Adhikari level, then we should not be there. But from there, we should try to increase our faith by associating with devotees who are more elevated than us. And then the next level of devotee is Madhyam Adhikari. So Madhyam Adhikari is like somebody who is in midway in his devotional service. So Madhyam Adhikari can be said to be like a Shraddhavan, so that he has strong faith in the process. He has strong faith, but his knowledge of scriptures is not very deep. So he may not be able to uh, defeat some philosophy, but he has firm faith. Based on the basis of his faith, he will be able to say no to the distractions, and he will be tethered in his spiritual life. So somebody who has, received spiritual initiation, and he's firmly engaged in the service. So this is an indication of like somebody who is a Madhyam Adhikari. And yeah, and another distinction is like a Madhyam, a Kanishta Adhikari, he has a firm faith in the deities. He has firm faith in worshipping the Lord, but not in the devotees. So he has, some, like he will not have firm faith in devotees. But the Madhyam Adhikari, he will have respect for the devotees also, and he will know how to deal with devotees. And yep. So these are the two levels. And then the next level is Uttamadhikari. So Uttam means, Tama means darkness, and Ut means above. So somebody who is above darkness. So the and Uttamadhikari is like the topmost devotees who has given up everything in the service of Krishna. He's completely engaged in service of Krishna. He does not blaspheme and criticize anybody. He does not have the tendency to do that. And he's always making plans to spread this Krishna consciousness movement more and more. And if we meet somebody at such a level, we should, immediately surrender to him, and we should accept him as a spiritual master, and always try to associate with such a person. And one another quality of Uttam Adhikari is he sees everyone at the level of soul. He does not discriminate based on externals even a little bit. So in this regard, there is very beautiful story that I would like to share about Srila Prabhupada. And this story is from book called Our Dear Srila Prabhupada. So it has interviews of before Prabhupada came to West, like he was living in Vrindavan and his whole life. So, so this is like an effort by one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who interviewed many people who had met Srila Prabhupada before he came to West, and all of these interviews are recorded in this book. So I have not read this book, but this particular story is from that book. So when before Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan, he was in before he left for America, he was in Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan he was living in the Radha Damodar temple. And while he was living there, he he used to, most of the times he used to spend chanting and translating books and reading. So that's what was his like full time. That's what he used to do. And some and how he used to get food is, he used to go out and beg. And sometimes for many days he did not even used to do that. So there was one milk person, so milkman, who when Srila Prabhupada did not used to come for a few days, then he used to send his son, or he used to personally go, or sometimes he used to send his son to go and give milk for Srila Prabhupada. So this young boy, when he was very small, he tells this story that when he was very small, once his father told him to go and give milk to Srila Prabhupada. So when he went there, So Srila Prabhupada he was sitting and he was chanting Japan, Hare Krishna, and his eyes were closed. And this boy, he did not want to disturb Srila Prabhupada in his meditation. So he was just at the door and he was seeing, and he was just trying to say, like slowly, Prabhupada, like Prabhu, Prabhu, but Prabhupada was not listening. And then after some time, this boy saw that there is a scorpion in the room who is coming towards Srila Prabhupada. And then this boy, like, he was there for some time, and the scorpion started moving closer and closer. And then he started saying, Prabhu, Prabhu. But even Srila Prabhupada was so engaged in his chanting that he was not listening. And then at one point, when this scorpion was so close to Prabhupada, this boy shouted, Oh, Prabhu! And Srila Prabhupada opened his eyes full of tears and compassion. And this boy said that there is a scorpion. And he said that, let him be. He's also a devotee. So, so this tells the level of Prabhupada that he's seeing everybody at the level of spirit soul. He's not discriminating. So this is the quality of an Uttam Adhikari, that he sees everybody as being more elevated than himself. And yeah, so we should try to more and more associate with people who are more elevated than us. And there is no, like, strong line that Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, or Uttam Adhikari. So it can be like you can say like different shades of gray. You cannot, like, put in a tight bound around about these levels. And the thing is, like, it's, nobody is born like perfected, except few devotees who are always liberated. So for most of the devotees, it's like a gradual level of elevation. And so you should try to progress in this way. Okay. And yeah, so let's move further. Now, so now we know what are the different levels of devotees. Now the thing is, we know we should how. Now the thing is, we know whom to associate with. The thing is how to associate. So that also Srila Rupa Goswami has given in Nectar of Instruction, and this is a very famous verse in ISKCON. Would somebody like to read this?
Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the six symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another.
Yes. So actually, there is some mistake here. This text 4, not text 5. Sorry about that. Yeah. So these are like the six loving exchanges. So first is offering gifts in charity and accepting charitable gifts. Second is revealing one's heart in confidence and also inquiring about confidential topics. Third, giving prasadam and accepting prasadam. So yeah, so the thing is, like, these are some, very simple activities, and this is how it happens in all the like, any relationship. These things will be there through exchange of these things, give and take. Any relationship is formed and it becomes deep over time. Srila Prabhupada says, even in like any business dealings, whenever some businessman will come to meet, they will do is like, uh, ठीक है कुछ लोगे चाय लोगे कॉफी लोगे. So that's how they start. Then while they are having prasadam, they will do some discussion, like they will do about business. So that's like revealing one's heart, inquiring confidentially. So that's how the conversation goes on. And then offering gifts when somebody goes, like, they offer some gifts like that. So that's how any relationship is formed, and that's true for like even spiritual relationship. So once now we have seen the different levels of devotees and how, and we know whom to associate with. So we should try to do these six loving exchanges within devotees and try to develop our relationship more and more with devotees. And the thing is, um, it's okay that we are giving, but it is also important to accept when somebody gives something. Don't say like no, 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 like how I don't, but somebody gives, then you have to accept this. And this is what is a great austerity for sannyasis, but they do it. And in this regard, there is a story I heard about Srila Radhanath Maharaj. So one time he was invited to the house of one of the grahasthas, and so his assistant had already told that please do not use some ingredients or some sabjis with because Maharaj because doctor had said not to eat that, and it was not good, not proper for Maharaj to eat that. It would affect his health. But when they went there, so that sabji was prepared, like which the assistant had told not to prepare. And then what did Maharaj do? He said, "No, I will accept it. Like now it has been made, it is offered, and now I must accept it." So, so this mood of like accepting is also important because it then forms the relationship with other person. Yeah, so giving and taking both are important, not just focusing on one thing. Okay. So next, move forward. Now come to like now we'll specifically focus on like this relationship of like friendship, uh, because like somebody who is very senior, we may not always be able to associate with. Most of the time we spend with people who are at an equal level. And so you see like some example, many like one example from uh, from the scriptures about Krishna Sudama friendship. But before that, like so everyone they actually are looking for some friend, and they accept friends like we accept friends. Some people accept friends based on like things that are we like the same drink, we like the same kind of food, we like the same kind of sports. But as long as our friendship is based on that level, it cannot go deep. There will be like as soon as there come some differences, uh, you learn something more, then there comes like a barrier in the friendship. It cannot go deep beyond more, beyond that. But with spiritual friendships, that's not the case. With spiritual friendships, Krishna is in the center, and all other differences are taken apart by that. There is no differences. Just like in a pool, if we put drop stones, there will be no. You drop one stone, there will be ripple. Then you drop another stone, there will be like another ripple, and then they will collide. So if two people have different center of interest, then there will be like collision. But with spiritual friendships, the thing is the center is the same. Everyone is keeping Krishna in the center. So there is like harmony in that relationship. And yeah, so with this in this regard, like this story of Krishna and Sudama, we will see what it means to be a true friend, and what it means to maintain to be a friend in Krishna consciousness. So the story of Krishna and Sudama comes in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so Sudama is a poor Brahmana. Krishna and Sudama were together in the Gurukul, studied together in the Gurukul, where they became good friends. And many years later, after they passed from Gurukul, so Sudama's wife. There, he's a very poor Brahmana, and his wife not being able to tolerate his husband. She's not able to feed him, and she was not able to tolerate that. So she requests him that please, that she reminds him that you have such and such friend from Gurukul. Krishna is your such a good friend. He's a king. Why don't you go and ask something? And he did not uh, actually, he was just pleased with the thought that he will get to go and see Krishna. He did not go there to ask him anything. But before he went there, uh, they thought that just to please his wife, and then he was more eager to see Krishna rather than ask him anything. But he decided like I should at least carry something with me. So they did not have anything, but they went and from the neighboring houses they begged some handful of chipped rice, and that chipped rice poha, his wife packed and gave to Sudama for carrying, for as a gift for Krishna. And when Sudama goes there on the way, thinking like, after so many years, I'm going like, will Krishna remember me? What will he think? And finally, he goes there. He goes to the palace of Rukmaniji, and as soon as Krishna sees him from far, so he gets up from his seat and goes to greet him. And he welcomes him. He offers him his own seat, washes his feet, and treats him like, just like a king, even though he's so poor. So he did not see any difference. So Krishna is like, he's a true friend. And then later on, they are talking to each other, and what they are remembering, the days of their Gurukul. And this, and then Krishna is saying that, do you remember on one particular night we were rendering service to our Guru Maharaj Sandipani Muni, and we were outside, we went outside to bring firewood for our Guru, but and it became little dark, and there was a storm, and in that storm they became like lost. They could not see anything. It was very dark. Krishna and Sudama, they just had each other. It became very dark. They were not able to see. They were not able to find the way back to their Gurukul. So in this storm dark, the only shelter they had was each other. And in this way, they were like, holding each other's hand, and supporting each other at this time, trying to find their way back. So this is like the secret of relationship in Krishna consciousness. That is, we help each other in our service to our Guru Maharaj. That is what makes our relationship deep in Krishna consciousness. That we help each other, we hold each other's hand, we forget all differences in our service to Guru Maharaj. And throughout the night, these two boys, Krishna and Sudama, they spend like this. And the next day morning, when the weather cleared up, Sandipani Muni and his wife, they come to they come in searching for Krishna and Sudama, and their guru is very pleased with their service, and he offers them benedictions. Uh, yeah, so after that, they are recalling this, and this is specifically I wanted to bring out this point. Like, this is the secret of friendship and Krishna consciousness, that we together, for above all differences, we serve our Guru Maharaj. And then after that, in this way, Krishna and Sudama are talking to each other, and then Krishna asks him that, have you brought anything for me? And Krishna and Sudama seeing like this palace, that how in such a way Krishna is being treated, is living as a king. How can I offer him such, bad quality of food, this chipped rice? But Krishna, he accepts the love of his devotees, and he says like, what is that in that bag? And he snatches that from Sudama. So the glory about this is that, this is something which Sudama did not offer, but Krishna snatched from him. So just to accept the love of his devotee, and he takes uh, one he takes like, handful of that prasadam, and then Rukmaniji immediately, she comes and says, my lord, this is enough. Just by this one morsel, everyone has been satisfied. And she takes the rest. So actually, that is like, she wanted the Mahaprasad, because this is something which Krishna snatched, which was not offered to him, but he took it. So she wanted that Mahaprasad for herself and to distribute to other queens. And finally, when Sudama goes back, he sees that, Krishna, even though he did not ask anything, but Krishna gave him all wealth. And even after having all, a big palace, servants, Sudama and his wife, they were still living with that same simple heart which they were living before. So they were not bewildered by all of this wealth that was coming. And yeah, so this is like, friendship in Krishna consciousness. And to be a true friend, Maharaj was asked this question. His Holiness Radha Maharaj was asked this question once, that Maharaj, what is one quality to that we should have to be a good friend? And Maharaj said the topmost quality, like for being a true friend, is to be genuinely concerned for the welfare of our friend. That we are genuinely concerned for our friend at physical level, mental level, at spiritual level. So we care for each other at all these three levels. And there's many more examples of friendship in Krishna consciousness from the scriptures. So Vidura is such a friend to Dhritarashtra. Even after Dhritarashtra was, not listening so many times, he banished Vidura, but again he came back for Dhritarashtra. So Vidura is such a friend. Prahlad Maharaj was such a friend to his father, Hiranyakashipu. He was always thinking of his welfare. And Srila Prabhupada is such a friend to everybody that he gave up everything just to, you know, just to spread this message and help other people. Yeah. So now, uh, like, uh, we'll come to like the practical part, like in our own life, like what we can do if we do not have such a friend. Like, what if you feel lonely and if somebody thinks that, Prabhuji, I don't have anybody to share my heart, I don't have any friend in Krishna consciousness. So, what to do? So, first thing we can do is we can pray to Krishna. Krishna is our true friend, and Krishna will help us. He will send somebody to with whom we can go carry forward in this journey of Krishna consciousness. And then um, we have to even ask ourselves. So I will tell, like with me personally, I had this experience when I came initially in Krishna consciousness. So I was living in voice, and in voice there were like there were like 40 more devotees whom I was staying with. So even amongst so many devotees, I was feeling like lonely. I was not feeling connected to anybody. So why is that? So I had to ask these questions to myself. What is the barrier, Why am I feeling, even amongst 40 people are surrounding you every day, how can you be feeling lonely? So thing is, externally that's true, like you may be surrounded, but what is the barrier that's, that stopping you from feeling that connection with devotees? So are we letting devotees in our lives? Are we opening up to devotees? Are we sharing our lives with devotees? Are we being vulnerable with devotees? This is something which deepens the connection, makes you feel connected to somebody. You cannot speak your heart to anybody, but only to those you are connected. And if you don't uh, feel that, then like try to find somebody, pray to Krishna, and start doing that with few devote, like at least one person, and you will see that it will automatically develop. And then it's also important that we go and do some activities together with devotees, like going on trips. As I think you all went to New Vrindavan, so you must have experienced that. Just after that one trip, you had like some strong connection with each other. So that is very important to do with devotees, going on such trips or doing some activities together, playing together. Like I know Vishal too plays, is very enthusiastic for playing cricket. So he calls all devotees for playing cricket. So all these activities is like also important that help us in in developing relationship with devotees. And finally, last thing that I want to say is it is important, like even if many times we want, like somebody to be our friend, but it is also it is more important that we be a good friend to the other person, that we help the other person grow in their spiritual life, that we are concerned for the other person at physical, mental and emotional level. So with that, and uh, just two last things I would like to say is, one is a quote I would like to say. So said like, if you like a flower, then you pluck the flower, right? But if you love a flower, then you water it, so you grow the flower. But if you really love a flower, then you offer it to Krishna. So 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 whoever is our friend, we should try to connect them at their level to Krishna, and if whatever way they can accept it, and if not, we can at least pray for them that Krishna will help them. And one last story about His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So once Radhanath Maharaj was at an airport, and there was one so there was one, and this is somewhere in US. There was some government, some official who was there at the airport also, and so Maharaj, like somehow was arranged to meet with this person, and this person said like, I have only 2 minutes to give. I can give only 2 minutes. So whatever is there, to you say fast. And then so this meeting was arranged, and then this person said, "Yeah, tell me, like, 2 minutes. Tell me fast. What is it that you need?" Then Maharaj told that to this person that, uh, I just will you be my friend? And then this person said, "Yes, forever, forever, forever." And then this person, he sat with Maharaj for like 1 full hour. So this is one very nice story, like how such great spiritual persons are, like they are a true friend to everybody. And that I want to thank you all for being a friend. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Karan Prabhu. Amazing. So sweetly delivered. So many wonderful points. Thank you so much. I think Dhaval Prabhu has a question, if you can answer that. It's in the chat.
So although I'm saying so many things, I have not uh, realized, but maybe someday I can deeply imbibe these things in my life also. So can you ask Pruji? I think it will be good if you can ask the question
Yeah,
directly.
Dhaval Prabhu, can you ask directly? Maybe that's better.
No, okay.
Okay, okay.
When we talk about helping others, how do we decide how to help, how much to help? For example, should we stop doing our work and help others when they reach out? For example, you are doing a job somewhere and someone who is in very bad situation reaches out to you. How will you help him? Yes, Proj. So I will share something, and probably other devotees can share their perspective also. So so if you have ever been, we have all been on flights. So on flights, the instruction is given to everybody before the flight takes off, that in case of emergency, first you help yourself, then you help others. So first you put the oxygen mask to yourself, then you can help others, because without helping ourselves, if we start helping others, very soon you will run out of strength, and then you'll have to come and put your own mask on to recharge yourself. So do your best, whatever, do our best, whatever we can do to help the other person. And but it's important to know like your own limit, that this is because only you we can only give how much we have, we cannot give more than what we have. So you do your best, and then don't reach a point where you are completely broken down and then you have to recharge yourself. So proactively recharge yourself and also try to help to your best capacity. And if you are not able to help, we can ask somebody else. We can redirect them to somebody else who can help them also. So it's my opinion, but anybody else, please. Like,
He posted an additional follow-up question, bro.
like we should help them even if we can't help. I mean, like I'm not able to understand like that question. Like
Suppose we have the possibility, then what to do?
help in like you are asking in terms of like uh,
So
I
as
mean,
you said, like putting an oxygen mask on ourselves first, then others. So I am saying like if we still have the possibility to help them out before we put our oxygen mask, it's
yeah.
confusing. I
So if you think like it's like saving, pulling out somebody from the well. If you have the strength that you will be able to pull them out without being dragged in yourself, then you can do that. But if you think you will reach, you will be pulled yourself into that. Like you don't have, you will be able to put the rope and start pulling. But in the between, if you are going to break, then you understand what I'm saying, right?
so should we like keep like I know that if I pull the string, I won't be able to help him and he will like fail. So should I keep him in the like dying situation or how should I go for it? I can help him out with some cases, but not like I can like pull him the whole way out from the well. I can just you can say take him like suppose it's 50 meters, then I can only take him to 25 meters.
Yeah, then definitely we should, I think, help him. But only thing my concern is you you don't get you do your best how much ever you can do, how much ever you are able to help them. Definitely, like we cannot uh, help somebody more than our capability. So we help them with our capability, whatever is possible, and maybe then we can guide them to somebody more, somebody else who can help them even more than. So we can do our best and to our capacity.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Anyone else? Any other comments? Any other questions?
Other devotees can also share something, Prabhuji.
Prabhu?
Experience.
Sorry.
Sorry, Vidya Mataji, yes, sir. Fine.
So what happens is all the devotees around you, like I know you gave the whole this thing hierarchy, but no matter even if someone's new or anything, you will always consider them very elevated. So like even Maharaj says, no, that there's so much of awe and reverence that there is no scope of friendliness or means you just feel like oh they should be respected and just put flowers on them. So how should you go about that?
I mean, yeah, I think, and this is natural. It comes as so. You mean like to everybody? Like there are no equals. That's what's happening.
No, they are equals. Like But you yeah, but you just, I mean, if you have like your school friends, college friends, you can like
Yeah,
not slap them, but maybe like whatever, just tease them, slap them, and this and that. But with devotees, you respect them so much that, you know, when there's so much of respect, you keep people at a distance. That okay, I respect
yeah,
you, and you
I,
nothing. So there's a
yeah.
lot of this thing that you're just elevated and
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a very practical thing that happens, and that is the same thing that happened with me also. And but over the years, like over 4 years, 5 years, afterwards, I learned that it's okay actually to be like that with devotees, because we have something, like if I act like this, we have some image. This is what it means to be a devotee, and we are like, if I act outside this thing, I'm not sure what this other person will think of me. Will I be accepted in this community if I behave like this? But it's okay to be normal. After And for so many years I was just, like that I have to behave like this is what it means, and not being my true self. And that in fact, was stopping me from making such relationships with devotees. So don't think like it will be, definitely that barrier is there. It will be little difficult to break, but it's okay, just be normal. If And just try to slowly break that barrier. Just like it's okay to joke with devotees and start doing that. Because if we won't do with devotees, then we will do outside devotees. Then if that friendship, that relationship becomes more strong, then like we'll be pulled in the other direction. So if you think, if any material activity also, we think I'm going to do this material activity, better do it with devotees. So that's why it's important, like, to come together as devotees and have play with devotees. So it's very important, like, yeah. So just take the first step, I think.
thank you, Prabhucharya. Like the last part that if you won't do it with devotees, you'll go elsewhere. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I have, like, I mean, I personally experienced such thing for a very long time. So yeah. Someone Prabhu want to share anything in this regard, please?
Anyone else wants to share anything on the in this regard? I think it's a very practical question, because especially as new devotees, when we come in, we start looking up at everyone, and then we have this inferiority complex, which kind of prevents us from developing deep relationships. So, what should we do? Vinay Prabhu?
Prabhuji, I have advice, like suppose you work in a, like I guess everyone is working in a software company, so we know like we have senior members as well in our team, but still we like speak with them as a friend or as a like teammate who works in a team to develop something. So I guess if we relate that with our Krishna consciousness movement, like we have other senior devotees as well, but we can see them as a friend as well. So,
Yeah, very nice, Dhaval Prabhu. I think you answered it very well. Vinay Prabhu, you also have a lot of experience staying with, living with devotees. You want to share anything?
Yeah, Prabhu, but the answers Karan Prabhu and Dhaval suggested, they are like they are really superb, and I learned a lot actually today. This is like so important topic. Like I feel this Vaishnava relationship, like once you are into devotee community, this is the life and soul. Like um, your advancement will depend on that, like how the great devotees have great relations. We can see all the way from Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all the great Maharajas and all the great devotees, how swiftly and lovingly they deal with the people around them. And especially in case of me, I like I really observe and try to absorb the dealings of Gaur Kumar Prabhu and Yugal Kishore Prabhu, how they deal with the others. It's been like amazing to see, like how both of these Prabhujis interact with the people around them. Like some of my
Ask
friends,
my
like,
wife. She'll tell you how I interact.
no Prabhu, but it's really amazing. Like all the devotees around you, I have seen like A few of my friends whom I just took like in the temple just once or twice to meet with Prabhuji, and they still ask me about like how Gaur Kumar Prabhu is doing, how Yugal Kishore Prabhu is. So like yeah, uh, so like we should carefully learn about this, and like every now and then like Gaur Kumar Prabhu shares about this thing like in his talks, because this is really important. Yeah. And thank you. The class was really amazing, Prabhu. Yeah. You covered many topics, shared many pastimes of Maharaj. So thank you so much.
Anyone else? Jitendra Prabhu, would you like to say anything?
Yes, Prabhu, the class was wonderful, and some quotes were like really nice. They sort of will stay in the mind for a long time. Like this quote about, if you like a flower, you pluck it. If you love a flower, you will water it, and if you really love a flower, you will offer it to Krishna. So yeah, it is. It really hits the point, and yeah, about this particular thing, right? Um, we uh, because we want to be humble, we sort of treat everybody on a pedestal. So Radhesham Prabhu actually, in voice, he would say that so you have seniors, you have equals, and you have juniors. So with seniors, he would say you should have reverence for them. You deal with reverence. For equals, he said you should deal with sakhya, like there should be a sakhya bhav, and with juniors it should be sneha. So of course we respect everybody, but then uh, the thing that is prominent is different. With seniors, the thing that is prominent is reverence. With equals, it is more of friendship, and with junior, it's more of sneha, a kind of cultivating attitude, kind of a thing. And yeah, I mean, I feel like that, and um, it's yeah, and it's important to have equals actually, because um, the senior, he will, because he's senior, he doesn't want to kind of hurt you or like rip you out of your comfort zone, so he might not say some things. And the junior, of course, he will not say certain things because he is junior to you, he has put you on a pedestal. But if there is something that somebody can say it to your face, something even related to spirituality, then it's your equals. So that is the reason we need to have equals. So this is stressed a lot in Pune community as well, like our counselors and Radhesham Prabhu. And yeah, and yeah, humility could be in different things in different contexts. Like Radhesham Prabhu gives an example for a person whose comfort zone is in mopping the floor. For him, humility is to sit on the Vyasasana and give a class. And for a person who sits on the Vyasasana and gives a class regularly, for him, humility is to go and mop the floor. So humility is very different, and I think I see humility. I see it in one way is to be a good friend to an equal. Is also, it takes humility, because you have to come to that matching wavelength, and you have to sort of hold yourself from just hitting to the point and just proving yourself to be, something, and then coming to that wavelength. So that is also a part of humility, that I I can put aside my own selfish agendas, and I can come to a wavelength with this person because he's a devotee. That is also a definition of humility. I had heard this in one of Maharaj's lecture. I'm paraphrasing it. I don't exactly remember what that was, but Maharaj did speak about this. Like, I'm ready to set aside what I, you know, how would I say, what is important to me in a way, and then I try to come to that wavelength with a devotee. So that is also humility in a way. So
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Suman Prabhu, would you like to share something on this topic?
So you share if there is something more I can add.
I'll just mention a couple of things, Prabhu. So you mentioned about the three adhikaris, right? Kanishta adhikari, Madhyam adhikari, and Uttam adhikari. So one thing you did mention was once you're Uttam adhikari, you look up at everyone. Like you look at the platform of the soul. So which means you're pretty much not looking at the externals. You're looking everyone the platform of the soul. So it becomes very difficult to preach when one is on the Uttama platform, Uttamadhikari platform. So even an Uttamadhikari, just for the sake of preaching, they come down to Madhyamadhikari and then they preach. Because only at the platform of Madhyamadhikari can you differentiate if this person is devotee, non-devotee, like that, and then they make that effort. So I've heard this in other classes by Radhanath Maharaj and Bhakti Charu Swami, especially about Prabhupada. Even though Prabhupada was an Uttamadhikari, he came down to Madhyamadhikari just for the sake of preaching. So that was one thing. And then this pastime about Sudama and Krishna, there's one specific thing. So Sudama was, he had a subtle pride about his renunciation. So this comes much later in the eighth canto after Bali Maharaj pastime, when Brahma is questioning Krishna about certain things, and then Krishna gives this answer. so he says, so he says, there's a subtle pride that Sudama had, and that was that he had given up everything. He did not want to take anything from anybody, and so for him to become humble, Krishna had to give him this big palace so that he became humbled. For Bali Maharaj to become humbled, Krishna had to take away everything from him. So for different people, it's different, exactly as Jitendra Prabhu was mentioning. So for some people, you may get something. To take something from others may actually humble you. For some people, if everything is taken away from you, that may actually humble you. So, and I think Karan Prabhu also mentioned that sometimes when devotees give, you should take it. You should take it and very gratefully accept it. It may be difficult for us, but if we take it, it humbles us. So that is one more thing that I wanted to elaborate. I hope it makes sense. Um, yes, Prabhu, Suman Prabhu, the final word.
Mataji is also there. Yes, I would just, I mean, I had many negative experiences also. So, I don't want to share the learnings from them or those experiences in this platform. But let me tell a nice relationship between two devotees within ISKCON, if you'd like to. So this is between Jayapatak Maharaj and Bhakti Charu Swami, very close friends, and how they do for one another. So Bhakti Charu Swami joins in Mayapur as Bhakta Kishore, that time Kishore Kumar Das, and he fills a form where you have to tell what your current address is, where you stay, and then eventually shaves his head and all this. But after 10 to 15 days, or maybe a month, he gets a invitation from his father that there is a marriage in someone in his family. So he goes. Now Jayapata Kumara doesn't know, and those days he was the only Bengali in Mayapur, so there was a requirement of Bengali over there. And then Maharaj waited 3 days. What happened? Bhakti Charu is not there. I mean, Kishore is not there. So after fourth day, Maharaj takes that address and goes to his house to call him. That what happened? Has he left? What happened? Was something going wrong? Why did he leave? And then that time Bhakti Charu Maharaj was with his friends. He went out just, and then when he came back, his father told, someone called Jay Pataka came from the Hare Krishna Angrezo Ka Mandir, uh, and he just asked, he was inquiring about you. No, Bhakti Chau Maharaj wasn't exactly feeling to go that time, but then he thought, wow, Jayapataka Maharaj for me has come running all the way from Mayapur to Kolkata to catch hold of me. So he asked my father, where is he? No, he left, he's not there. Oh, why you did not tell me? So he was so sad, and then immediately he left home and ran to ISKCON Kolkata temple. And there Jayapataka Maharaj was waiting for him to take him back to Mayapur. So that's the last time Bhakti Charu Maharaj went to home for any reason. He decided that day. So that was initial friendship. Then after Prabhupada left, they used to have nice playtimes. They used to go on the top of Ganges. Ganges was quite deeper, and both used to jump into Ganges. There were other friends also. And for sometime hours, they used to do swimming, water sports. They used to play. And then there were, and they used to do wrestling in those days, which is called kushti. Then what happened once, there was those days, there was a American group, and then the Mayapur group. Two groups used to be there. So in the American group was headed by Guru Kripa Swami. Those days there was a Guru Kripa Swami. So, and they were like all hefty people, all 6 foot, and quite wrestlers. And Mayapur ones are all like soft bodies. Jayapatak Maharaj was used, that's a different thing. So Bhakti Charu Swami was not so good at wrestling, or he didn't like so much, but just to be friends, like how friends have this pastimes. They develop relationships more through this, but bathing in Ganges, playing water sports, doing this wrestling. So what happened is, from Guru Kripa Swami's team, the American team, they selected one person, and here Bhakti Charu Swami was selected to fight the first wrestling match. And in the first match, Bhakti Charu Swami was easily defeated. So, like this, one by one, all Mayapur people are getting defeated. Jayapataka Maharaj couldn't control how Mayapur's name can go down. Whatever may be the context, need not be wrestling, how Mayapur's name can go down. And those days, Maharaj was like really powerful, heavy, well built, like like a sumo, really. So he came, come, hitting his thing, come, who can come to defeat me? Come. Guru Kripa Maharaj was trembling seeing that mood of Maharaj, yeah, like that. And then he did not go. Then they sent one of their powerful members, and Jayapataka Maharaj just took and finished him off. They're like this. He told, come, who else wants to come? How can you defeat Bhakti Charaswami? This, so many people. So this is how you have a friendly relationship within each other. And then this, I mean, I can go on, but this was some very nice movements between them, like and then anyway, when Jayapataka Maharaj became ill and so many things happened, Bhakti Chau Maharaj went to him and told, Maharaj, you cannot leave. As a friend, I request you, there are a lot of things unfulfilled in Prabhupada's mission. You cannot leave. Whatever happens, you are not going to leave. Just remember this when he was going into the operation thing, and then he had multiple organ failures also. And then Maharaj comes back, and he says, at one point I was thinking that I'm going to go, but I have something unfulfilled. And I remembered Bhakti Maharaj words that, Maharaj, you are not going to leave. So yeah, like that. And then after Maharaj came out, there were a lot of dietary restrictions because his liver was changed, his kidney was changed, lot of organs were replaced. And then again Bhakti Charaswami went to meet him. Then Maharaj told, what are you going to prepare? Bhakti Chau Maharaj told, there are other God brothers, so I've prepared lot of items. Maharaj told, bring them all, no restrictions today. I want to eat. So I mean, till then he was restricted. So it's that kind of friendship. Whenever they would meet, they would cook for each other, talk. Every time Bhakti Chau Maharaj would go, he would ask about what's his diet. And so like and then when Bhakti Chau Maharaj was leaving from India to US, one person he called was Jayapataka Maharaj, and he told, I am going on a mission. This is required now. Maharaj, I am going. Jayapataka Maharaj told, why you are going? No, don't go. He told, no, I have to go. This is a opportunity for me. Just recently before his departure. And Jayapataka Maharaj assistant was telling Maharaj couldn't sleep for 2-3 nights, hearing that. And then Maharaj saw that video also, where when he's saying, I'm coming to US. And he told, the thing that I saw in the eyes when he's speaking, that those are not a person under normal circumstances. You can see that jalsa in the eyes. So Maharaj told, and then when he left his body, Maharaj was telling, as a friend, you told me to stay, so I stayed. He was just recounting, and he was telling all the 40 years of friendship. And then he published a beautiful memo of so many photos and pastimes, naming that memo as a true friendship going on for the last 40 years, now looking forward, something like that. And it had like every 2 3 years photos where they met, what were the friendly dealings, not like the meetings and all like friendly dealings, both going to bathe in Ganges or in Jagannath Puri or in Europe, all different kinds of friendly dealings. He had made some 250 pictures and they just released it. That was like, I would say, a real understanding of how one should be a friend in devotional life, like 40 years, over the years, all the incidents and how one stood for another in different circumstances. So that was something very heart touching to me. As devotees, we sometimes tell, what is this playing mundane sports attraction or different things, but if you see the friendship between them and different instance, how one stood for the other in different circumstances, it actually shows the personification of what Mahaprabhu told, how a Vaishnav should relate with other Vaishnavs and have this friendly thing, helping one another in need. Maybe if someone sees those photos, they can understand it more nicely, from the Rath Yatra, going to villages for preaching, book distribution, staying together, sleeping in grass, under those tents. Mayapur, those days, you would have snakes, what not, No, they used to go and, I mean, it was like, um, you could see the friendship and helping each other at every point in their life, whenever, even when they went through difficulties. So yeah, that's one thing. And another thing is, regarding inferiority complex. I've seen many devotees feel that, but it's very important that whenever you see someone who is, I mean, reading from Shastra, you should have some kind of idea who is an Uttam, who is Madhyam, who is Kanishta. That's required. Otherwise, yeah, humility is good. You see Bhakti Vinod Thakur's songs and all, if you read, he thinks that he is the lowest and everyone is higher. I mean, that is called Daina Bivoda, which comes after certain level of advancement. But at the same time, knowing who is at what level, we should also try to associate without having these boundaries, because then you get pulled up. It's like a charger, you get pulled up. Otherwise, yes, humility is okay, but sometimes, I mean, why do you have to feel that he is very high? If he is very high, let me go and take his association so that I can get that, that power, instead of, oh my God, what will happen? What do I? Okay, if you offend him, you beg forgiveness. If you feel that I've offended him, beg forgiveness. And Vaishnavas are always forgiving. So I have seen many devotees. I mean, it's good to be humble, good to be in a humbler background, but at the same time, not always having that consciousness that yes, everyone is. I am not even a devotee. I am a milecha. That's Yovan. That consciousness is required, but at the same time, um, you still develop. Whomever you see, you go meet, take association, try to develop some kind of relationship. And again, you have to see the frequency. For some people the frequency will match, so you'll automatically become friends with them. I mean, you'll have all your pastimes, I would say, with those people. But not, you can't be friends with everyone, because sometimes your frequency won't match with everyone. But still, you don't have to feel this inferiority conflict complex. Yeah, you have to have respect and be at a distance, but at the same time you should be able to take the association. So that's a that's something called, I have heard that if you're more mature, you will know how to react at different situations. If you're more mature, you will be, with maturity you handle, not that you are frivolous against them or you are disrespectful against them. You have to have a balance between them. And and take the association, because sometimes anyway, this is what Ghansham Prabhu once told me. Ghansham Prabhu used to be secretary of Radhnath Maharaj for many years in US, and Ghansham Prabhu told, see, Radhnath Maharaj has no regret in his life as such, but he tells, still I have one kind of regret, that is, when Prabhupada was there in this world, I was never in the foreground. I never went and asked him, or I never was in the foreground. I was always in the background serving. And so that's something which I regret, if I have any regret in life. And then Ghansham Prabhu, then actually initially I was not interested to go and meet Bhakti Charaswami. I was thinking he's very senior. Uh, Keep distance, everyone. But then Ghansham Prabhu told, don't make this mistake. Radhat Maharaj told her that if you get ever an opportunity to meet with a very senior Vaishnav, go and take his association. And if you ever feel that you have made any offense, ask forgiveness. A Vaishnav will forgive you if he's a real Vaishnav. So that's my, I mean, what other devotees said is correct, but sometimes we miss this angle, which I just want to emphasize.
Just one small thing, Prabhuji. You said we need the frequencies won't match with everybody. It's actually Shastrik. Rupa Goswami says Sajati Ashaya, Bhagavad Bhakti Sangha. So you need to associate with devotees who are of similar natures, Sajatiya and Sa Ashaya. So they expect the same thing out of devotional service, like the fruit, in a way. So yeah, that is actually
So Rupa Goswami says that 60% times with equal, 20% with seniors, 20% with juniors. He kind of gives this kind. So 60% of the time you spend with who are equals. So 20% you spend with who are innocent, neophyte. So what happens is, if you spend more time with neophyte, you get pulled in the other direction, and if you spend more time with very senior devotees, then the chances of judging them or offending them are more. So that's why it is 60-20-20. But here is the trick. The trick is, how do you understand who is equal? You may think he is my friend, but he might be actually at a much higher spiritual consciousness than you. And you might think, oh, I know him, what is there from 10 years I am seeing my level. We are like Chadde Badde Dost only, what is there? So
yes, I was going to say that also, Prabhu. So, like, honestly, even to this day, I have that trouble figuring out who is equal. It's like, most of the devotees have this feeling that, okay, there are, other people are much higher in their spirituality than ourselves. So that puts us in in that kind of a position where, okay, we see, only things that are degrading in us, right? So that puts us in a lower position. And unless we are, like all of you have come from like you were in a preaching program from day one, and then you moved up. So maybe you can relate, but then I'm sure that you also, all of you have also some kind of a inequality situation. Even though, you're all like equals, there may be more ups and downs. You may not really think that you're all equal, right? So that is what I was going to say. So it's better to be respectful with everybody, regardless. I mean, and more closely respectful with the the range of equal people, because it's hard to determine who's equal. So I'm just saying, for me, it's just a range. Like okay, this is my range. I may be lower or upper, like plus or minus, but not like many notches, maybe little bit. But I think it's good to be respectful regardless, and then also share, the jokes and the sorrows, but everything, all the emotions. But then be respectful is what I have learned. Because I see that the relationship between Radhanath Swami and Bhakti Tirtha Swami, I mean, it's a beautiful friendship. but with the that's also has a lot of respect for each other. Because Maharaj, left everything, and he says in many lectures. I'm sure all of you have heard the last few days of Bhakti Tirtha Swami, how he left all his big engagements that he had, and then just moved in with Bhakti Tirtha Swami's bedside, and just kept chanting, and whatever Maharaj wanted. So I think with respect and also with a lot of love. I think that's the way to go. It's a very good question, Vrinda, and it's unfortunately it's like you have to experience only tells a lot, But I think these are few guidelines, I guess. And thank you so much for the class, Prabhuji. Karan Prabhu, very nice class. Very covered every aspect of it. It's really beautiful. I really like the quote about Bhakti Tirtha Swami that you mentioned in the beginning. My spiritual life depends on how I treat this person, regardless of who that person is. It's really nice. I've seen that before, but it's good. It's good reinforcement. Thank you so much.
Yes, Karan Prabhu, sorry, I forgot to glorify you, which is more important than all this.
You can just pray for me. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very gentle, soothing class, right? Very heartwarming, gentle, like it was very soothing. And Mahaprabhu tells our movement is hinging on only three things. I mean, should hinge. What are the three things? Yeah, chanting, dancing, feasting is there. But what are the three things, the technical words? One is Jive Daya,
Seva.
Vaishnav Seva, and what's the third thing? Name Ruchi.
Ruchi. Yeah.
So chanting the holy name, getting taste in the holy name. Jive Daya means you are compassionate towards the innocent. And Vaishnav Seva. These three things is the fulcrum of our Sampradaya. So Vaishnav Seva comes under, this relationship, serving, everything comes under Vaishnav Seva also. So if you, especially this friendship is greatly clearly written between Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. If someone has read Chaitanya Bhagavat, those all pastimes. And since Vrindavan Das Thakur is in Sakhya mood, if you see Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, who writes Chaitanya Charitamrita, his mood is different. But Vrindavan Das Thakur is in Sakhya Bhav. And we also find it in Gauda Gunadesh Upayan that he's in Sakhya mood. So if you see the Chaitanya Bhagavat, basically every chapter only tells about friendship and offense. Friendship and offense. Friendship and offense. If you see any chapter, you'll only find how to have friendship, friendly dealings, and how to avoid offense. What happens if you offend someone, and what happens when you are not friends with someone. So I mean, every chapter in Chaitanya Bhagavad, I could feel that. So I think that's maybe Gaur Kumar Prabhu can tell more about that, but that's one of the books which I found is friendship and offense in every chapter.
Yeah, I particularly like Chaitanya Bhagavat a lot because it talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's earlier pastimes more. So a lot of Gaur Kumar's actual Gaur Kumar is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was a small boy. So I was after I got my initiation, I asked Maharaj. Then he specifically said, "Read Chaitanya Bhagavat more." So I really like that particular book a lot. Anyway, just wanted to share that. So, Vishal Prabhu, would you like to? I know you're the only one who's not spoken, and Karan Prabhu is your dear roommate. So
I was just enjoying listening to everyone.
yeah.
I'll just say, like, Prabhu, I'm very fortunate to have Karan Prabhu with me, and I get to hear this nectarful wisdom every day.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice class, and even the answers he gave, it is coming from his experience, what he's living by. So, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, everyone. I just want to mention one particular angle that we missed. So we talked about devotee relationships, we talked about Vaishnava relationships, but there is also this other angle of dealing with our parents, dealing with our brothers, sisters, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws who may not be devotees. So how do we deal with that? How do we handle that? So I'll just briefly mention what I heard from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu on this topic. So he says that we should always think of two things. One is affection and attachment. These are two things that we should always be aware of. We should be affectionate towards people who may not be devotees, like with our parents, with our brothers, sisters. We should definitely be affectionate, but we should be very careful not to become attached, because the difference between affectionate and attached, once you become attached, then you will not do anything to hurt that person. But if you're affectionate, then you will also be in a position to correct that person. So that is the difference between being attached and being affectionate. And this appears several times in the Bhagavatam. Like every pastime, you will see both positive and negative aspects of this. For example, I think Karan Prabhu or somebody mentioned Vidura today. Did you mention Vidura, Prabhu? Karan Prabhu, you mentioned Vidura. So Vidura and Dhritarashtra also, it was a relationship. They were actually brothers. But there was affection, but there was not attachment. So Vidura could easily detach himself from Dhritarashtra and walk away. But Vidura could also come back because of his affection and correct Dhritarashtra. So in this case, there was affection, but there was no attachment. And again, we see several pastimes. Bharat Maharaj also, I was thinking, in that particular case, Bharat Maharaj becomes attached to the deity. He initially became affectionate, but that affectionate became attachment. And then because of that, he compromised on his sadhana and so on. So we have to be very careful. Of course, we should be affectionate. Of course, we should correct. But we should be attached only with Guru, Krishna, really attached to the devotees and so on. And that's one thing I wanted to share. And just one more minute I'll take. So this is the last Wednesday before Purushottam Mass ends. I know many of you have taken vows and done some amazing things this month. So this is a month where we are recommended to read Chaurashtakam and chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita and so on. So I just want to end with one particular pastime of Bilva Mangal Thakur, who is actually the author of Govinda Damodara Madhaveti and all these wonderful bhajans. And he actually carried Krishna in his heart, always thinking of Krishna. Um, Balam Mukundam Smaranam Mamami. He used to always think of Krishna, the boy, the baby Krishna in his heart. So it so happened that Krishna and him had this wonderful, playful relationship, like the friendly relationship, you can say. And this was the final moments of Bilva Mangal Thakur's passing. Many of you may have heard this. So this was when Bilva Mangal Thakur was actually blinded. I won't go into the earlier pastimes, but this was, so Bilva Mangal Thakur was blinded and he was walking towards Vrindavan, and then Krishna comes there. And then Krishna says, ask me something, ask me something. Oh, actually, even before this, Krishna wants to test him. Krishna wants to test Bilva Mangal Thakur that I want to make this person ask me something, ask me for something. But Bilva Mangal Thakur never asked Krishna anything. No matter what difficulties come, I'm not going to ask Krishna anything. So it so happened that Krishna made sure that the Bilva Mangal Thakur is put in extreme difficult situations, that at least then he will ask me for some relief. So it so happened that Bilva Mangal Thakur falls into a pit filled with thorns, completely filled with thorns. And he was blind also. He couldn't come out. So whichever direction he turned, the thorns were actually poking him. So at this point, Krishna thought, now he's going to call me and ask me for help. Of course, he was calling Govinda Damodara Madhava. He was always calling, but he was not calling for help. He was not calling for his own relief. Then Krishna said, why is he still not calling me, still not asking me for anything? Then Krishna pulls him out of that particular uh, place where he was down. He was that pit. So then Krishna says, then when Krishna touched him and pulled him out, then Bilva Mangal Thakur understands that this person is Krishna. This person is Krishna. Then he says that Krishna, this is you, this is you. Then he tries to hold Krishna. Then as soon as Krishna understands that Bilva Mangal Thakur held his hand, and Krishna doesn't want to reveal him, right? Reveal himself. So he immediately pulls himself out and he starts running away. And then Krishna says, okay, I'm going away, I'm going away. Then he says, Bilva Mangal Thakur says, where can you go? I've already captured you in my heart. Where can you go? I've already. Then Krishna again accepts defeat. Even now, he's not asking me to come and give me his darshan. Then Bilva Mangal Thakur, Krishna says, do you at least want eyes to see me? No. Then Bilva Mangal Thakur says, no, I don't want eyes to see you because I already have you in my heart. Then Krishna says, can you tell me how I look? Then the beautiful series of verses Bilva Mangal Thakur says, he describes Krishna and exactly how Krishna is looking in front of him. Bilva Mangal Thakur is explaining, you're looking like this, your hair is coming on your face, and there's a peacock feather which looks like a lightning in a monsoon clouds. Beautiful verses, and then Krishna is amazed, and then he says, this is not the place for you, come, let's go. And then Bilva Mangal Thakur, he takes him back to Goloka Vrindavan. So this I just wanted to share that such a wonderful intimate relationship between Bilva Mangal Thakur and Krishna, something that we can meditate on this week, and especially when Purushottam Mass is ending. So next,
Prabhu, sorry.
yes.
I did not understand that part. Krishna took him out of the pit. Then Bilamangal Thakur understood that he is Krishna.
Yes.
Is there anything how that one, or just by touching the
Just by
transcendent?
touching Krishna, he could understand that this boy, this is someone very special, and I know that this is Krishna. I know that this is, and then Krishna is amazed that he knows. And then immediately when Krishna knows that, then he says, oh, I don't want to reveal myself like that. It's a beautiful. I'm not telling it properly, Prabhus, but
This is there in Krishna Karnamrita?
Yes, I've heard lectures about this, and yeah. Anyway, so next week Nitya Kishore will be speaking. So we'll start a little late next week because she has to put Radha Kripa to sleep. So we'll start at 9:30 tomorrow next week, and then is that okay? Haribo?
I was thinking I will start early and wrap up early so that, because I don't know when she will sleep. Every day is different.
So what do you all okay, whatever, yeah.
Start at the same time.
Start at the same time?
Yeah. And then I will keep it short, and probably like 30-35 minutes.
Okay. We can
you can prepare for another content also for the rest of that.
What I'm thinking is it okay if we start late, like 9:30, 9:40?
Yes, bro.
So we can all keep speaking something else, and then you can join us. And so you can, I know it'll be very ecstatic, and we might have questions and other things. And
oh no, it's very simple. I mean, I'm not a speaker, so.
Talk about mothers and Krishna consciousness, right? From the Bhagavatam.
I've not thought about the title, but somewhat like that. Yeah.
And then after that, one more wonderful devotee, Raman Krishna Prabhu, has agreed to speak to all of us, and he's going to talk about nectar of instruction. He's going to summarize the entire nectar of instruction, which Prabhu spoke today, a couple of verses, but he's going to summarize the whole thing in 1 hour. So that's going to be really nice. And I'm trying to get Yugal Kishore Prabhu after that.
Is he recovered?
Yes, Prabhuji. He's doing much better.
He's in the hospital or in the temple?
At home, Prabhu. At home. In the temple.
So any symptoms, Prabhu, as such?
Fever was there,
Oh.
but fever is reduced now. Yesterday and today it is reduced, 97 point something.
So he's in New York or like there?
Michigan.
Hamilton Hills. Yeah, Michigan. So
in this COVID also he's giving lectures.
Yeah. Like
because I saw 2 or 3 days back some Telugu Bhagavad Gita is.
Yeah, he's totally.
Out of.
Doesn't even bother him actually in one sense. He's just completely.
Bodily platform.
Yeah, he's out of. Anyway.
How is your health, Prabhuji?
It looks like you are
I
cold.
have a little
Yeah.
fever and cold and cough, but I'm doing much better after
So did you took any medicine or not?
just the Tylenol. Tylenol. I'm taking
Hot water, ginger,
hot water, ginger. Yeah,
ginger,
that's what I'm having here.
steam. Some steam also helps.
And prayers for Prabhu.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hari Bol, Prabhu.